What's good, you guys? It's Capital J Productions. I'm back with another podcast. And today we are talking about, I'm not talking about people no more. That's what I'm talking about, right? Now it's crazy because this is coming from somebody who's talked about pretty much everybody and everything, including basically the whole music industry. I've done reaction videos. I've done topic videos from rappers to singers, different singers. You know, you name it, Cardi B, Sexy Red, so many different artists I've talked about, right? All these years. And, not that I wanted to talk about these people. It's just the truth needed to be put out there, right? So that's how come I talked about these people, you know? I talked about the people in the music industry. I talked about, the rappers, the singers, the producers. I've talked about the record executives, you know, the people who put these people on. I talked about the whole industry, you know. I talked about Hollywood. I talked about P. Diddy and his situation. I talked about just about everybody you can think of, you know. And I did it because God told me to do it. I didn't do it because, you know, I'm a person that gossips. I'm a person that just want views. I'm a person that want clout. You know, I'm a person that just want to get any attention at any means necessary. I'm not that kind of person at all, and I never have been that person, and I never will be that person. I'm a very laid back person. I like to be, especially nowadays, I like to be by myself, and just kind of do my own thing, you know. But God had a plan for me, and I followed his plan, and I did everything that I was told to do. I talked about everything you can think of and beyond. I talked about his word. I talked about Jesus Christ the King. I talked about God, my Father. You know, I talked about my wife. I talked about my child's mother, that situation. I talked about exes. I talked about friends. I've talked about families. I talked about my family. I've talked about people on YouTube. I talked about basically the whole world, what the world is doing, the things they're doing wrong. I've talked about so many people, you know, even Charlie Kirk. You know, I talked about people who's went viral, people who's big in social media. Not everybody, but, you know, the people that I did mention, I talked about, right? And basically that whole point, my whole point is well, how much more of this I want to do, right? That's the question. Because I really never wanted to do this in the first place. Like I said, I did it for God, right? But, you know, I've done it, and I have over 120 videos on YouTube, about 120 videos on YouTube. And, you know, I haven't gotten no views in my past couple of videos, which is fine. You know, that's fine. But, yeah, I mean, everybody on YouTube is just talking about people, other people, which, okay, I get it. The world is revolved around people, right? But as a person who's done it, you know, I realize, like, I'm the type of person, I like to focus on myself. I like to focus on where I need to get better at, right? The things I want to do, the things that I feel good, that make me feel good, that make me feel better as a human being, right? And I don't want to be the type of person that just keep putting people down or keep pointing the finger here, keep pointing the finger there. That's how come I always wanted to move in another direction, because I don't want to come off as one of those people, because I'm really not one of those people. It's just with social media, you kind of have to talk about people because other people are interested in what they see on the TV or what they see on social media. You know, they're you know, they're interested in. Democrats, you know, and Republicans, and you know, what these people doing over here, what these people doing over there. What's the latest news on these people? What's the latest news on them? The sports, you know, basketball players, the football players, all this stuff, right? All these different versions of people, really, in different categories, right? That's what everybody else is doing. And me, I've had my share, I've done it, but I've done it for the right reasons. I didn't do it to be gossipy and just want to spread news or put out, you know, certain information just to catch your ear for a few minutes, right? And just to get your view or get your listen. I didn't do it for that. I do it so we can try to become better as people, to look at these examples of these people that's in the spotlight and say, you know what? I don't want to ever be like this, or I don't want to be like this person. I want to be better than this person. And this is how I'm going to do better, and I'm going to treat people better, and I'm going to become better. And if I ever get to that person's status, I'll make sure not to be that way, etc. Right? So that was my aim, right? That's what I was aiming for. That's always has been the mission for me, from talking about all these people. And that's, you know, what I hope that you guys got from me was just to do better. Everything about, you know, these podcasts I do, and just, that's what I stand for. You know, that's why I put my voice out there in the first place. It's so we can become better as human beings, to, you know, do better, be better, respect each other, you know, learn from each other. That's what we're supposed to be doing, you know, not necessarily judging each other, you know, spreading lies by each other, but really just let's be about the truth and let's help each other, right? But, you know, I know most people don't have the kind of mind that I have. And that's how come I'm not talking about people no more. Because I understand that I'm for the most part, I'm a one of a kind. And without a shadow of a doubt, I'm a one of a kind. You know, I'm a man that listens to God first. I'm a man that tries to do right each and every day, not just when I want to, but each and every day. I'm a man that looks at himself before I look at everybody else, even though I have talked about everybody else. I'm a man that's constantly learning, right? I'm constantly looking at every little detail that I believe most people is not looking at, or things that people don't think about. I'm constantly trying to grow while I'm here, because I feel like that's what life is about. Life is not just about talking about people every day, you know, and trying to find the latest trend on Google Trends. And then you're just following the wave, you know? And that's what a lot of people are doing, you know, on social media. They're just following the wave. Wherever the wave tell them to go, that's where they're going. I didn't want my channel to be another one of those channels. Because what would that make me if I follow after them and I be like them, right? What's the point? What will my channel be worth if I'm following after a bunch of other people? That's why I stopped doing reaction videos. You know, I did those for a little bit, and once I realized like, I'm kind of just following what everybody else is doing, you know, I don't want that for my channel. I want to be authentic. I am authentic. We all are authentic, but you know, some people, most people these days are more followers than they are leaders. And me, I'm more of a leader, you know. So that's how come, another reason why I'm not talking about people no more. And it's just time, you know what I mean? It's time to, I think YouTube is that's what YouTube thrives off of, right? And social media in general thrives off of talking about people, right? And for me, I kind of want to change the direction of things. And if I could, but I'm not getting that many views anyway, so I can't change anything. But what I can change is the direction of where I'm going, and that's what I'm doing. So because I feel like over 120 videos, or podcasts included, I'm quite sure is more than that, but I've done enough. That's like, when is it gonna be enough? You look at like some people I follow on social media, and they're just talking about person after person, whoever's trending, they're talking about them, and and I'm a lot of times I think I'm like, they seem to be giving you information, but then I start asking myself, like, what is I'm really listening to? Like, what's trending right now is Diddy, right? And you talk, basically just make videos about Diddy right now. It's probably gonna go viral, or not viral, but you'll get a lot of views, for sure, and you can grow your channel off of it. And that's with anything that's trending on the news or trending, in the world. But because that's how YouTube works. But after you've done that, and you've done it as many times I've done it, right? And you realize your channel is only growing because of the people you're talking about. It's not necessarily because of the things you're talking about, right? The topics that I choose, the topics that I really want people to kind of start focusing on. When you notice that, it's gonna hit you, and you're gonna really think like, man, is people really, you may know like people are really here just for the gossip. They're here just to, but like, people are not really trying to educate their audiences. They're just feeding them all this gossip garbage. And I didn't want to be I refuse to be another person to do that same thing and continue doing that same thing. I've done it. I have my share. I'm not putting those type of people down that do it, because I understand how social media works. That's how it is. That's just how it works. But me being the leader that I am, me being as talented as I am, all the stuff that I do, all the things that I'm doing behind the scenes that y'all don't know about yet, I know I don't have to do what everybody else is doing, right? So I don't want to do it no more, because I just don't like talking about. I don't like talking, and a lot of the times it's bad stuff. It's not even good stuff, so it's not like I'm talking good about these people. A lot of the stuff is really bad news. And I'm not really the type of person to just spread bad news every day, I'm a very positive person. So I want to focus on like more positivity. I want to focus on more laughter, more enjoyment, because I've already done my part. I've already talked about everything up under the sun, things that was important. It was important for me to talk about all the things that I talked about for all these years. That's why I did it the way I did it. And I talked about that stuff first, because Jesus Christ the King, that's first, right? God, he's the Father. He's really first. After him is Jesus Christ the King, right? Number 2. And the world operates off of them too. So, and the devil I talked about the devil too, plenty of times. And the world operate off of those 3, everything. So I hope you guys can understand where I'm coming from, for those who do listen, and whoever ear this reaches. But I am definitely moving in a new direction, and I'm gonna be more focused on my content. I'm gonna be more focused on the things I want to do, right? And there are some things I'm working on in the background, but I'll probably make a podcast about that. Maybe I not, or maybe you guys will just pop up on my page and it'll just be there, because I've talked enough. I communicate very well, you know, and I shared a lot of personal information. I try not to share too much because I love my privacy. I love where I'm at in life right now. And I'm very blessed. I'm very happy. I couldn't be happier, you know. Of course, things always can be better, but they always can be worse too, you know. But I'm working each and every day, and that, you know, and I'm getting ready to close these podcasts and move in a different direction, I'm always open, you know. I'm humbled enough, and I'm always open to go back if anybody wants to talk, or, you know, or you guys just want me to speak about a certain subject, I will speak on it. I have no problems doing it. I'm a kind of a mastermind at doing these things. I mastered it just like beats, you know. It took me a long time to master beats, you know, and I remember I was telling my wife not that long ago, like I remember practicing every day, going hard. I would go to work, come home, and that's all I would do. You know, get on the computer, do beats. Get on the keyboard, do beats. You know, and just, you know, try to master it. Listening, a lot of listening. I put my ears through a lot, you know, banging beats and, you know, listening to, you know, these different sounds and panning from left to right, you know, learning about hi-hats, snares, kicks, you know, all the different sounds, you know, and I've done it, you know what I'm saying? And I kept doing it, and I kept doing it, and I kept doing it. I kept showing up every day, you know, even when it didn't make sense. But I knew that's all I had. So I showed up and I gave it my all. And I took that approach. It started with beats, but it moved on to every aspect of my life. And in a way, it paid off. You know, it didn't go the way that I thought it was gonna go, but it paid off, right? Like, you know, I didn't make it to the music industry because once I started to see how wicked the music industry was, you know, the people involved, you know, the people that I've talked about so many times, I realized I'm not the type of person that's gonna fit into their world. I'm just not, because they're gonna try to make me a victim, and I'm not gonna be a victim. You know, and God knew that about me, and that's why he wanted to keep me away from this industry, because the industry is wicked and the people in it is wicked, and you know, they screw over everybody. And that, I believe y'all should see what everything that's going on with Diddy case and all the victims, and he had, like, this dude got so many victims. How was he able to victimize all these people? Just go look into it for yourself and you'll see what I'm talking about. And God kept me from this industry, and I thank God for it, you know. But yeah, I went hard, and, you know, I mastered that, and, you know, and now I'm a master at doing beats, but, you know, I really don't do them that often. I've done 3, I think, within the past like 2 months. I've only done like 3 beats. And I did it on a new platform because I was like, well, you know, like, I just wanted to see what was out there and see what's new with technology, and, you know, I messed around a little bit, and I created 3 beats. I kind of mastered this other software within like a day, you know, so I'm pretty smart. And these, I mean, they all pretty much work the same. So once you know how to work like Logic or Fruity Loops, one of those, you know how to run them pretty much all. So, but anyway, so I hope you guys understand why I'm not talking about people no more. It's just, I've done it, and I don't want to continue doing it. And you can see, like, well, most people YouTube channels, that's all they're going to be doing for their whole YouTube career, is just talking about different people, whoever's trending. And I don't want to be that person. I'm not about to join the already thousands of YouTubers that's doing that, you know, because basically what they're doing, they're no different than the news station, you know. And I was gonna do a video about that. I was gonna do a whole video on how YouTubers are like they're like the new news station, you know, and you know, they just report on people and their news, but they just get to give their takes on it, and they're following into that trap, and you know, a lot of them don't even realize that they're not even talking about things that they're not even really using their own brain. I mean, they are, but you know, there's so many other more important topics to talk about than just these people that we see on TV and people who we hear on the radio stations or whatever it may be, like people on social media, just the popular people alone. There's so many more topics that we can talk about, like so many more, you know, like we could talk about, you know, the homeless. How can we help the homeless? You know, you don't hear too many people talking about that. You know, like nobody's focusing on it because everybody's focusing on, you know, these entertainers and stuff. So, yeah, so I hope you guys understand. But yeah, I'm not talking about people no more. I'm done. You know, I don't care who it is. I don't care how much they trend. I don't care. You know, because I never really cared for these people, and in my private life, I don't really go out looking for, you know, these rappers, or I don't care what they got going on. You know, I don't even listen to their music anymore. You know, I listen to my own beats. You know, I listen to my own stuff. You know, sometimes I may go back and listen to some of the early stuff in hip hop that I liked, and you know, stuff that, you know, that kind of inspired me to get started in music. But those days are kind of basically gone, you know, and to see where hip hop is turned into, and I just don't want to support hip hop no more. And that's how come I don't sell beats. That's how come I don't want to feed the machine, you know what I mean? So the reason why I still do beats now is really for my own content that I'm making. I don't make them for, you know, to sell them or anything. You know, so, but I have some ideas on what I might do with my beats. If anybody is interested in my beats in the future, but not the rap on, that's for sure. But yeah, so that's why I'm not talking about people. I'm going to be focusing on more important stuff, right? Not saying that people is not important, but the people who I was talking about, the people in the industry, they have a, you know, they got the news station. They already have a machine behind them. Like, why do we need to be pushing them even more? Like, that's another thing, you know, but hopefully more people will get it. I'm just putting this out there. Hopefully somebody will come across this and they will get it and understand clearly what I'm saying. But yeah, it starts with me. So, you know, cause I've done it, but I'm probably never gonna go back and do it again, you know? So just letting y'all know. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this podcast. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.
I am the beginning.